This morning we're beginning a special series called Strange Addictions with a look at people addicted to pornography. A quick warning, this story might not be appropriate for children. With the growth of pornography on the internet, it's easier than ever for potential addicts to get hooked. Here's NBC's Michael Oku.
5 years ago, Amy Tracy and her husband Lance, a filmmaker, began what looked like a blissful, adoring marriage, until Lance's secret addiction almost split them apart.
I think in the worst of the worst, I was looking at porn 3 or 4 times a day. Maybe an hour to 2 per session, per time. So that could be a 6-8 hour day, sometimes.
I had no idea.
When did it start feeling to you like something might have been off?
I would say it was about 3 weeks into our marriage. It was kind of like a whirlwind of passion, and then all of a sudden he just seemed as though he wasn't very interested.
You look at this stuff and you don't have any emotions left over for your wife.
Amy felt lonely, even blamed herself. And just as her marriage was reaching a boiling point, she found a journal Lance kept in a computer file detailing his obsessions with online pornography.
I felt totally betrayed. I felt very unattractive, just not cherished. I felt really hurt.
And when I still couldn't stop, then I realized, I have an issue here.
Internet pornography is the crack cocaine of sex addiction.
Robert Weiss runs a Los Angeles treatment center for sex addicts, 90% of whom are men. Weiss says since the internet is cheap, easy, and anonymous, it's like pouring gas on a fire, already burning in potential addicts.
All those images are so immediate online. There are so many of them, and you can go from one to another to another to another. You can get really, really lost really quickly.
The number of pornographic pages on the web has multiplied from 14 million in 1998 to roughly 260 million in 2003. The options appear endless.
He had opportunities to, have a call girl type situation. So
experts say sex addiction is becoming more recognized as a legitimate condition, with radio shows like this one.
I think you speak to issues a lot of spouses experience.
There's even a documentary due out soon, exploring the addiction. The filmmaker, Amy's husband Lance.
It was a way for me killing the demons that I was dealing with.
Amy says they got back on the right track, welcoming a new son into the family after Lance took the first step, admitting that he had a problem, and after Amy insisted Lance attend intensive interventive therapy with other addicts.
Oh my gosh, it's like night and day, and I respect him so much more. There's a level of honesty and just intimacy in our relationship because we've been through this.
For today, Michael Oku, NBC News, Los Angeles.
Dr. Patrick Carnes is one of the nation's leading experts on sexual addictions. He's the executive director of the Gentle Path program at the Pine Grove Recovery Center in Hattiesburg, Mississippi. Dr. Carnes, good morning. Nice to see you. So obviously, this is a very serious problem. Do you think just now it's being accepted more as the serious problem it is and has been?
The two things that have changed everything is that, first of all, it's gotten to be such a problem that therapists are dealing it. Most mainline therapists are now going to see people with the problem. And the other part is that we are understanding so much more about the brain. The internet has really helped us to start seeing how sex can be addictive and as a brain problem.
Because a lot of people might think an internet pornography addiction or a sexual addiction in general is really a cover-up for a moral lapse. In other words, somebody who just cannot sort of stay on the straight and narrow, be faithful to his or her spouse, and has fallen victim to this. But it really is a psychological, chemical addiction, correct?
Yeah, for some people it can be a moral lapse, and for some people the internet has been a great boon in terms of learning about their sexuality and helping them get rid of shame and what have you. But the fact of the matter is, for some people, it is a problem, a widespread problem, which really just ruins their lives in ways that many people would never be aware of because it's not like it's obvious.
How does it ruin their lives?
Time spent, consequences, money lost.
As we heard in the piece, no emotional sort of reserve left.
No spouse can, first of all, can compete with the internet. Nobody can compete with the internet at that level. This level of stimulation can be so high. And the other part is, if I was to give you cocaine, you never had cocaine before in your life. There's a part of your brain light up. But if you were a cocaine addict, it wouldn't light. When a sex addict, or when most people see pornography, that brain part lights up. But if they're a sex addict, doesn't light up. Takes much more pornography to get the same kind of reaction.
So you have to have more and more and more.
It's what we call tolerance, and it's now measurable. We can see this in brain scans, so we know that people have got a biological problem.
How do you know, though, when you cross the line from, say, enjoying this kind of material to actually becoming addicted to it?
Well, we have some signs that we look for, and that are very clear.
Preoccupation.
Preoccupation, one is that they're obsessed about it, and something interfering, for example, from them being able to get online, they find themselves very irritated, what have you.
Anxiety-ridden, loss of control. What does that mean?
Making promises to yourself you're going to stop because you know you didn't get all your work done, or you're spending 8 to 10 hours a day and you're just not doing what you're supposed to do, and you lose your job.
Consequences. Does that mean losing your job?
What could be, or get arrested. Getting into into areas that you shouldn't be in, at illegal websites, what have you.
Relational problems, we mentioned that.
One of the things is that one of the signs for a lot of people, and you saw that in the deal, is you get so stimulated having sex with a real person. It just doesn't work. It's so powerful that now just having what would be a loving relationship doesn't happen.
And shame. How does that play into it?
Is complicated, but briefly, it's about you feel defective because you have tried so hard to stop. Why can't you be like other people? And then comes despair. In the Gentle Path program, about 50% of our people walk in suicidal.
What do you do then if you discover your spouse? And some women have this problem too, right?
About 40%.
Really?
40. It used to be like in gambling.
And it's probably hard to even know statistically.
Well, in gambling, we do know. Gambling and alcohol and sex addiction, for years we were able to measure it, 3 men for every woman. When the internet came, both in gambling and in sex addiction, the women's numbers shot up.
Because of the anonymity of it all. Real quickly, we're almost out of time. If you discover this is going on, what do you do?
Well, the very first thing is they got to get help. On the website that you have, there are all kinds of places they can go to help. There's a call center listed that allows that you can get a therapist in your own backyard. You need a therapist for about 3 to 5 years. There's 12-step programs that help. Family being involved in the therapy is absolutely critical.
Really? How can you get family involved in sex therapy?
Because they're not there by accident. In other words, they
Children?
It's one of the problems. 2/3 of teenagers, 13, 14, are watching pornography while they're doing their homework.
Oh, boy.
So we actually have one of the big problems in this. There's a tsunami coming. And if parents aren't talking to their kids about sex, we're going to see a lot more problems down the road.
Well, it's a very, very important issue, Dr. Patrick Carnes. Thanks for coming in.
A pleasure to be here.
Appreciate it.